Hello everyone, and welcome to the webinar, and thanks for you to joining us today. So I will go through the platform for you on the incoming minutes, and the Binalyze AIR is the digital forensics and instant response platform, which works based on agent server architecture. So right now we are looking to the Binalyze AIR console, and after we deploy AIR console, and the AIR console can work based on like an on-prem solution, fully on-prem, or you can have it as in your public cloud or private cloud. And after the deployment of AIR console is ready for you, you just need to distribute Binalyze AIR agents through your environment. And how you can do it, it's really easy and pretty straightforward actions. So when we click deploy new endpoint, we can select where we want to deploy our agents. And after that, under this new endpoint deployment page, we can download the installation binaries for Windows, for Linux, for macOS, and we can use like Active Directories, group policies, SCCM, or any other third-party software deployment tool can be used to make this agent deployment. In addition to this, in our platform, we are providing you some quick deployment methodologies, like we are providing you some PowerShell commands or PowerShell scripts for Windows operating systems. And we have widget and curl commands for Linux and macOS. When you just copy these commands and run them on your assets, these assets will be communicated with AIR console, will fetch the agent, will execute it automatically, and then these assets will be up and ready for you, less than half minute. In addition to these three major operating systems, during your investigation, if you will need to gather evidences from Chromebooks or ESXi operating systems, so we are providing you standalone collectors for these two operating systems. Whenever you need, you can just download these standalone colors, and it's possible for you to collect evidences from these two operating systems as well. And after we make agent deployment, and then we will see such a dashboard. And here in this dashboard, quickly, we can see the amount of endpoints that we are managing right now. And if there is any issue on our endpoint or assets agents, we can see them, like if there is any assets which is unreachable, or if there is a requirement for update, or if there is any agent which is in the old version, we can check this status quickly from here. On the right-hand side, I can quickly see the lastly registered endpoints into my AIR console. And also in the middle of the dashboard, we have the recent tasks. So I can quickly see that which actions are taken. For example, my colleagues did some acquisitions, there were some auto asset tagging activities and baseline comparisons, etc. And we can see all these activities quickly. And before we jump into each and every detailed feature of the Binalyze AIR console, it will be good to mention about the case folder mentality of Binalyze AIR. Here also, as you can see, there is a case summary section, and I can quickly see that there are 19 different cases in my AIR console right now. So we can jump into the case folders, and we can see the existing activities under each and every case folder. So what is the case folder? So before we start to take any investigation, what we can do, we can create a new case quickly, and we can collect all the evidence collections, triage activities, interaction, every report, all these sets will be combined under the single case folder. As an analyst, I can see everything under the single case folder. For example, this is just one example. And for instance, under this Cobalt Strike investigation case folder, I can see that I have analyzed a single machine, and I have created a timeline. There is just one timeline. During that investigation, if I will create a multiple timeline, I will see all of these timelines over here. And I did 7 different acquisitions during this investigation. Whenever I need, I can quickly click to this view report icon, and we can jump into this each and every collected acquisition reports. And if I will make some triage, and I will see the triage reports under here. And also during this case, I did a couple of different interact sessions. So as Steve mentioned during his presentation, Interact is Binalyze AIR's remote shell access capability or feature. So whenever you need, you can connect your assets by using Interact, and you will take some actions like leave search, or you can make some extra activities by using the Interact's capabilities. I will show you this as well. And after we close Interact shell sessions, the AIR provides me a report for each and every session, and whenever we need, we can see them over here. In addition to that, we have compare section under the case folder. So comparison or diffing is one of the unique features of Binalyze AIR, and which means that by using compare, it's possible for me to make comparison between different acquisitions. And then I can see the exact changes, what was added, what was deleted, what was changed into this machine. And then we will have a compare report. And also all these reports can be collected under this case folder. In addition to this, in this case folder, the analyst can put their notes. Who did what during this investigation? They can add their notes. And also, for each and every case folder, we have an activity timeline. So which means that I can quickly see that during this case or during this investigation, one of my colleagues executed some Interact shell sessions, or they did some acquisitions, etc. I can see who did what chronologically under this activity logs. And at the end of this session, at the end of this investigation, if I need to create a report, I can see all these historical activities that we did. And if we need to get more information about each and every steps that we taken, we have these reports for timeline, for acquisition, for triage, for each and every part of this investigation. And then that will help a lot, during the creation of a report as well after this case. So we talk about during the presentation, you can speed up your investigation, right, by using Binalyze AIR. So how we can do it? As I described at the beginning, first of all, you can quickly distribute your agents through your assets, and then we will start to take some activities remotely through our assets. And for example, from this single machine, when I need to make some investigation, I can start by gathering evidences from this machine. And how I can do it? Just with a couple of clicks, I can select the acquisition. I can select the case folder that I want to save the outputs of this acquisition. And then I can select the acquisition profile. And just with one click, we can start our evidence acquisition remotely from this machine. And also, while this acquisition is running, let's check together what you can collect from these machines. Under this acquisition profile section, whenever you need, you can add new acquisition profiles, and then you can specify what you want to collect from each and every acquisition. So we have Windows, Linux, and macOS collection sets. Under Windows, it's possible for you to collect more than 170 different items or evidences. For example, from the system evidences perspective, it's possible for you to collect process and modules, antivirus informations, proxy list, or the evidences from MBRs, from memory, like RAM images, page files, hibernation files, browser histories, master file tables, and the list is really long. Some registry evidences. You can select what you want to collect, and then all these evidences and artifacts will be collected for you. In addition to these evidences, if you need to collect some specific files from your assets, you can use custom content profiles under these acquisition profiles. For example, if I need to collect all the PDF files under users and documents path, I can use custom content profiles. This section gives me the power of regular expressions, and we can use it. And all these PDF files will be collected for me. Like this, we have collection sets for Linux. It's possible for you to collect more than 60 different evidences from the Linux operating systems. And if you need to collect some evidences from macOS, you can select what you want to collect, and then the Binalyze AIR agents will collect all these evidences for you. In addition to this, if you will need to run some e-discovery activities, here, as you can see, the platform supports more than thousands different extensions or file types. So if you need to collect some specific files, like, for example, email files within the EML extension or Edura mailbox, generic mailbox, whatever you want. Here, as you can see, there are too many different file types. You can just select them, and all these files will be searched for you, and these files will be collected for you as part of our e-discovery engine. So, as you remember, we have just initiated an acquisition from this specific machine. Here, as you can see, around 2 or 3 minutes, the process is right now in 100%. So the evidence acquisition almost done for us. So just imagine that. By using traditional evidence collection methodologies, it's not that easy to collect all these evidences. So you saw the list. The platform is really granular and it has really high resolution. So in total, it's possible for you to collect more than 270 different evidences, and you can gather that evidences that quick. In the traditional approach, we need to get these images, and after we get these images, we have to use some other tools to mount this image, and after that, we need to gather these evidences, etc. But after we get these evidences, again, it's not easy to have consolidated report to proceed our investigation. So even before start our investigation, it is painful to gather all these evidences. So right now, we are collecting these evidences from single machine, but also in Binalyze platform. If you need to collect evidences from multiple machines, you can do it. For example, here, right now, under this Binalyze Europe organization, we have more than 3,000 machines. Just with one click, you can start evidence acquisition, and in parallel, you can collect the evidences from thousands of machines. It's up to you. And from the machine that we started our evidence collection already, right now, as you can see, the evidences are already collected in 3 minutes. So right now, the platform is analyzing these collected evidences for me. So I don't need to wait till the end of this analysis period. I can jump into that report, and then I can see all these collected evidences from that machine. So here, we have a report of an acquisition. On the left-hand side, you can see all the evidences that we selected under our acquisition profile. So in this profile, in this quick profile, the platform collected 66 different evidences from this Windows machine. And right now on the left-hand side, I can see all these sections. As an analyst, I can jump into my investigation from here, and step by step, I can proceed with my investigation just by using this acquisition report, because all these evidences collected and they are parsed for me. And by using here, I can proceed with my investigation. But the cool thing is that, as you can see over here, the analysis also completed from this acquisition. So what we will see here right now, when I click into that report, but just be careful, all this evidence collection and the analysis done in 5 minutes, as you can see. I can click into the same report again, because right now the analysis also is done. And then we have a new section into this report that we call drone. Here, as you can see, drone already highlighted some findings for me. And as an analyst, I can start my investigation from these findings. So before jumping into these highlighted findings, let's go back to the acquire, and let's check together what is drone. So you can imagine, like, drone is Binalyze AIR's compromise assessment engine. Okay, so while you are starting your acquisition, it's an optional task. You can enable or disable drone, which is enabled by default, as you can see. Drone has its own analyzers. It has more than 20 different analyzers. And after AIR agents collects the evidences for me, all these evidences are being sent through the drone analyzers. Here, as you can see, drone has analyzers like schedule task analyzers, DNS cache analyzers, MFT analyzers, Yara scanners, MITRE ATT&CK scanners, ransomware identifiers, and too many other analyzers as well. You can imagine drone likes a decision support system. And then as an analyst, before I jump into that, all these collected evidences, drone shows me some light. Hey, analyst, so please start your investigation from these evidences because this looks dangerous, this looks malicious. And then I can expedite my investigation with the help of drone. And how it will look like, for example, let me show you one acquisition example over here. Again, we have the same report, which is, the acquisition report together with drone outputs. In this report, I can see that there are 5 dangerous findings which are coming from Windows event logs. I can quickly check them. And also there are 23 suspicious evidences from prefetches records, from Windows event logs. And also there are 2 high severity ones, which one is from registry and the other one is prefetches. So instead of checking all these evidences, as I mentioned before, I can start my investigation quickly from one of these ones. For example, this registry autorans. I can jump into these registry evidences. In this report, as you can see, everything is parsed for me, these registries, and I can see more details about registry like command lines, path, digital signature statuses, hashes, etc. So I have all the information to proceed my analysis, but I can start by checking this first registry, which is highlighted as an high for me by drone. So why this is highlighted as an high? Because drone says that, there is no digital signature found, and also file size is small. There's a process masquerading, the DVM exe looks like it should be a DWM exe, for example. And we can see the reasons of why this highlighted as an high. I can open that registry details, and yes, we can see there is no digital signature, the publisher is not existing, and we can see all of this stuff quickly. As a next step, what I can do, I have all these evidences. Everything is parsed for me. For example, just as a quick example, I can copy this hash and I can search for this through all these collected evidences from this report. And I'm seeing that quickly, the same hash existing under the downloads evidences, SIM caches, prefetches, and also we have the same one is under registry where we started our investigation as a first step, and we can check them quickly because we can make a global searches through all of these collected evidences by using this acquisition report. As an analyst, what I can say quickly, I can say that if this hash existing under the download evidences, there was a file which was downloaded. I can see all these details about this download activity. And for example, there are some activities under SIM cache. There is an evidences from prefetches, which means that this file also executed. And also it has some registries. If I need to check the execution times, I can use this prefetch evidences, for example, and step by step, I can quickly proceed my investigation. Just imagine that. When we get suspicious from an activity, just with 2 or 3 clicks, we started evidence acquisition. Acquisition is done less than 3 minutes. And on the next 2 minutes, Binalyze analyzed all these collected evidences for me. And then I start my investigation through that report on the next 5 minutes. And then almost less than 10 minutes, I started to see some activities history quickly. And I can expedite my investigation by using this report and by using these Binalyze capabilities quickly. Okay. So what I can do as a next step, as an analyst? Yes, we saw that this file definitely is malicious and this machine is compromised or infected. So what I can do, I can isolate this machine from the network just with 1 click. I need to make some deep dive analysis on this machine by creating timeline, by initiating interact sessions. We will do it right now together. But before jumping into that detailed analysis, I want to make searches through my environment against this hash, for example, because I want to be sure that if there is any other machine or ANT assets in my environment which is get infected with the same attack vectors. So I can gather all the IOCs from this report. Here in this quick example, I have the hash of this file, for example, register occurrence, we have it as we remember. I can copy that hash, or we can collect some other IOCs from this report as well while we are making analysis. And what I can do, I can use Binalyze triage engine to make searches through my assets because I have agents already deployed through my environment. I can create a rule right now. So under this triage, it's possible for you to create Yara or Sigma rules. Based on these Yara and Sigma, you will quickly initiate searches. And soon, Oscori will be available also here under triage. Since we have a hash as an example, I can open Yara rule editor. And then it's possible for you to make searches in memory, in file system, or in both. And here, as you can see, the platform provides me some example rule sets, so I can easily create my rule. For example, since I want to make search for hash, I need to make it under file system, and there is an example rule as well for that, find by hash. I can quickly paste my hash over here, and then quickly, I can create my Yara rule. Let's say this is the Yara rule with the name of IOC 116. Before saving this, it's possible for you to validate this rule if there is some syntax error or not, and then you will be sure about that because as you know that if there is any syntax errors, without making validation, when you run this Yara rule, you will wait for nothing because there was an issue on your Yara rule, but the platform will validate this for me quickly, and I'm sure that this rule is working perfectly, and I can save this, and by using that rule, I can start searches through my environment. So how I can do it? Again, under these endpoints, under this computer section, I can select all of the assets, again, which is more than 3,000 assets. You can click, and then you can start triage. Or what you can do, the platform provides me auto asset tagging capabilities. So as soon as you deploy agents through your assets, if the auto asset tagging is enabled from the settings, all your assets will be categorized or classified based on their specifications, like if this is a mail server, IIS server, Redis, Apache, etc. The classification will be done for you automatically. So if you need to make some activities or triage or the other acquisition activities on specific endpoint groups, you can select that group and you can initiate this a task for these groups easily. And again, for this triage activity, I can select triage for mail servers, for example. I can select which rules that I want to run as part of this triage. And just with one click, I can start my triage actions. And of course, all these results will be sent under the case folder that I selected. And under the case folder's triage section, we will see the results. If there is a hit for these IOCs from other machines, we will see them. And as an analyst, I can see my exact investigation scope, and just imagine that if there will be another 6 machines within the same IOCs, within the same hashes, I can see that right now, okay, my investigation scope is totally 7 machines right now. I will start to get evidences from the other ones that we find by triage as well. And then we can proceed step by step our investigation by using the Binalyze acquisition or timeline modules to proceed our investigation. So let's go back to our infected machine again. As you can see, it's already isolated. And just imagine while triage is running right now, I can make some deep dive investigation on this machine. So how I can proceed? If I need to make some extra investigation by using that report, acquisition report, I can do it. Or I can use timeline creation. As you know that the timeline creation is really important during the investigations, forensics investigations or incident response activities, because I need to be sure that what is the chronology of each and every activities that being taken on this machine. So the chronological analysis is really important by creating timeline, but the timeline creation, again, it's not an easy process by using traditional tools. We need to get the evidence, disk images or evidences. We need to parse them, normalize them. We need to use timeline analyst tool, etc., etc. It's not easy. But from Binalyze, just with one click, I can select my case where I want to add this timeline. And then just with one click, I can create timeline for a single machine. Or if I need to create timeline for multiple machines, I can select them, and then you will have a single timeline for multiple machines, and you can jump into your timeline investigation. And it will look like that. Let me open a timeline example. And here I have this infected machine. We have the timeline, and each and every activity, they are here chronologically. I can click each event, and we can see the event details on the right-hand side easily. But how I can start my timeline analysis? Yes, the first thing is that if I know where to focus, on which time to focus to make analysis, maybe this suspicious activity started with the alert of my EDR or with the alert which is coming from my CM solution. I get suspicious from something after my EDR alert. I know the exact time, and then I can jump into that time. For example, I can say that I want to jump November 16, 12, 55, and second 12 again, and we can jump directly in that time, and then I can see what was happened after that time, before that time, and I can do it quickly. Or you have flags over here. You remember drone. Also on the timeline, we have flags which are coming from drone analysis. For example, there is a creation of a file which was flagged by drone. I can see it over here, which is as suspicious, and I can start my investigation from here because it looks like suspicious, according to drone. Or during my investigation, whenever I need, as an analyst, I can add my own flags. For example, this creation activity looks like suspicious. I need to report this. And whenever I want, I can filter timeline outputs based on the source names, device names, or flags that we already did. So we can narrow down the outputs, and then we can export this timeline data as well. In addition to this, whenever you need, it's possible for me to enrich this timeline. I can add some other endpoints as well into the existing timeline. I can enrich this, or I can use CSV files to import here. So I can enrich this timeline. Just imagine that if I need to import firewall logs, proxy logs, if you have any logs which is in the CSV format, the Binalyze AIR can map them, and you can import them into the same timeline, and you can enrich this quickly. And again, we did our timeline analysis, and during our investigation, I think that, okay, in this machine, also I need to make some leaf searches, or I might need to delete some suspicious files, or I might need to download some file examples to make malware analysis. So I might need to make some extra actions by connecting to that machine. So in that cases, I can use interact. So again, before starting our interact shell, we can select the case folder that where we want to add our outputs. Just with one click, we can start this remote shell access. Please be careful. Again, this machine is still isolated, but from AIR console, I have an access, and then I can proceed my investigation. Right now, this machine cannot be communicated with any other assets in my environment or with the internet, but just there is a connection between AIR console and these assets, and we can take our activities. So here we have an interact shell, as you can see, but please, I want to remind this is not the administrator shell that we can find, okay, out there in the market from, like in the other solutions, because this interact shell specifically developed for DFIR purposes by our team. So how we can get benefit from this? When I hit help command into my Interact shell, as you can see, there are some existing command sets, which is unique for Interact shell. So these are the commands that you can use whenever you want. And all these commands can be run cross-platform. So you can run the same commands on Windows, on Linux, and on macOS. And in addition to this, the Interact shell has some features like, for example, osquery, which is available for Interact shell. If you need to make some live searches by using osquery, and you can do it quickly. For example, I want to search for users table by using osquery, or I want to search for processes. And by using the power of osquery, you can make live searches on your assets. Or I want to I have some files. By using curl commands, you can upload them in your sandbox. It's always possible. In addition to this, as I mentioned to you at the beginning of my demonstration, all the evidences will be collected without dealing with these images for you. So the Binalyze will collect evidences for you in minutes. It will be parsed, and then you can jump into your investigation quickly. But maybe still you might need to deal with disk images for the low authorities, etc. In the Interact shell, you still have disk image capabilities as well. Whenever you need, you can get disk images from these machines remotely. Also, it's possible. In addition to this, in this Interact shell, we have library, and you can upload your existing scripts or tool into library, and then you can upload them into that specific machine, and you can run your scripts, you can take actions. And the cool stuff is that after you close this Interact shell session, AIR generates me a report for this Interact shell. And this report will be sent under the case folder again. And whenever you need, you can check this report as well. So here, in this report, I can see all the details about this session. For example, these are the commands that we have executed during this session, and these are the responses from that machine. And you can see all these. And also, during this session, we have uploaded one file from my library. So this file uploaded into that specific machine, and we can see all this activity history as well into this report. So during your investigation on the coming hours, if you will need to check the existing processes on this machine or the users tables, etc., you don't need to connect or open this session again and again. You can use your previous, Interact reports, and then you can check everything from this reports as well. As a last step for today, also you have a compare section. So which means that as soon as you deploy AIR agents, first of all, you can make or create a baseline. You can imagine this baseline as a forensic snapshots from your machines. And most critical evidences will be gathered when you create this baseline, and then you will save them for the future to make some compare. Or you can make some automation by creating scheduled acquisitions, maybe from your critical assets. You can say that I want to collect evidences each and every Friday at 10 p.m. For example, you can have it, and you can do it, for example, daily, weekly, etc. And you can select which evidences will be collected for you. And then this will be scheduled, and you will have automated evidence collection. And whenever you need, you can use compare, and then you can make comparison between two different evidences. For example, we have a collection that we did at the beginning of this webinar, and then I have another acquisition or baseline, which is from 2 days ago. And you can make comparison between them. Let's check together. It's already done. In a couple of seconds, this comparison will be done. Just imagine that. I got alert from my EDR solution, I will show you also this, and this EDR or CM solution can trigger Binalyze automatically because you can make an integration between your existing security stack. And then what you can do, before you jump into these detailed acquisition reports, I can select the latest acquisition, which is done automatically, or I can make it manually, and I can compare this against the one which is the known latest, clean state of this machine. So here it is, which is from 2 days ago. And when I compare this, I can see that there are some changes from firewall rules, from drivers, service autorance, scheduled task autorance, and registry autorance. And I can see exactly there are 3 registries which is added into this machine. This was not existing, but right now this registry is existing over here. And there are 8 different changes from scheduled task autorance, from firewall rules, etc. You can see exact changes. And also there are 3 registry which has been deleted. This is not existing anymore. And as an analyst, during my identification steps, I can use compare quickly. And if there is something suspicious over here, I can just focus that registry changes, because in this registry, for example, I have all the path information, hash information, signature information, etc. And after that, I can jump into my evidence acquisition report, which gives me much more detailed visibility. By starting from these points, step by step, by using acquisition report, I can make deep dive investigation because I know where to focus firstly. So that will expedite my investigation process. And as I mentioned, you can make integration between Binalyze and your existing security solutions by using webhooks. As you can see, you can make integration with your SOAR solutions, EDR solutions, CM solutions. In addition to that, you can use Binalyze APIs. So we are providing you RESTful APIs, and whenever you need, you can make integration by using Binalyze APIs as well, and then you can automate your processes. When you got an alert from your CM solution, or when you got an alert from your EDR solution, that alert will trigger Binalyze, and then Binalyze will collect these evidences for you. As an analyst, I will have this detailed acquisition report, and I can quickly start my investigation if needed by using Binalyze acquisition reports, and then by using triage, by using timeline creation, interact, and compare, I can quickly proceed with my investigation, and then we can close this case quickly. So this is how it looks like in general from starting to the end. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them. Thanks you for listening to me.